Thank you very much. The first question is about the rise in the value of the cedi. We recognize a very steep appreciation in the value of the cedi in response to the reforms that we were carrying out. And for those of you who listened to me, there was one occasion where I said, people were asking whether it will go below 10. And I said, it is dropping, but it will find its true value. It was undervalued at 16, and it probably is overvalued at 10. But somewhere between there, we have the real value of the cedi. And so I believe that it is about stopping rapid depreciation of the currency. Almost every currency would realize either depreciation or appreciation in the course of a year. But when you have steep depreciation of about, like we had in 2024, 25% depreciation in the currency in the first half of the year, it makes planning difficult. And so, yes, Bank of Ghana has been intervening in the forex market, but they've withdrawn. And what happened was that because of the rapid appreciation in the value of the cedi, we saw an exponential increase in imports, because then people could buy cheaper dollars and so they could import more, which is a natural economic phenomenon. But on the other side, exporters are not happy because they get less cedis for what they export. And so every country tries to find out a balance where exporters are able to do good business and importers are not overburdened by high forex rates. Where that lies, I don't know. I'm not a central bank. But the cedi is making an adjustment, and I believe that it will settle at a certain rate, and we will make sure that any depreciation that occurs in the value of the cedi is within a margin of about 5% per annum. That is what we target. And so for now, there's still speculation. It's also coincided with a period where we saw a reduction of 50% in remittances, because citizens in the diaspora were taken aback by the rapid appreciation of the cedi. And so if somebody was building a house, if he was going to send $100,000, it meant that he was losing a certain percentage of that 100,000. And most of them would decide to adopt a wait-and-see attitude and say, oh, no, as for cedi, it's not possible that the cedi can regain its value to that extent. By all means, it will go up again. So I'll hold back my remittance until the cedi goes back up. So we saw a 50% reduction. But there were also some other factors. There were some money transfer companies that were collecting cedis abroad and not repatriating collecting dollars abroad and not repatriating the dollars. There were other, which we're investigating, there were other cases where people applied through the commercial banks for foreign exchange to cover imports. And those monies are transferred to pay for imports, but the imports never came into Ghana. And we've studied a period of 4 years, and over the period of 4 years, about $42 billion was taken out of this country without the corresponding imports coming into the country. And so we started sanctioning some banks, and soon we'll start interrogating some individuals who ostensibly took money out against imports but never brought those imports. We want to know what happened and if there was wrongdoing to sanction whoever it is. While we work to stabilize our economy and improve the value of our currency, we must protect that currency, because a strong cedi is good for all of us. But when that happens, some people try to take advantage of it. And I think that we should all condemn anything like that. FR investigations now with regards to oral. Senya Okayano, MPP address almost the Nshishebi by IMRA, say aban ne wudi efa case bi ho se ebia wafa sika na bibia wo akwenya obetimi aka se yo ene aban case na mode kwedu amode bomme no me san de sika na se agudie bia na se bibia mode bomme kwedu no me san de aba se ne be ya bomfa menkoto how do they call imprisonment efiase bomfa menkoto efiase enti ayemra edaho enti obi a yabo no kwedu bia ewo tumi se obeka se you ene yentwa so na memfa seimra na yenjai sa no enti eno enye aban ena ebeka eye nipa yede na kugina court and so se oka se o munjai asem no mu na memfa seimra na se agudie bia me fa ye me famra na se japadie bia me fa ye me famra na se bibi aban wa kwenya se ebeka se de bi yenje na yebeto aso any case no enti ejina case no ene ni anipa ne ye enti still aban wotumi say even though wako emra na se aka say me pese me san ede bibi bema aban na aban eja case no mu aban betimi aka say de bi yempe yenje enti eno a case by case say o sheda ede adwembone ewia yesika a echese eso a yenyina echese I don't know how to explain I just say abo aban anase oman ne car ye wotumi se ebeka se yempe nia wode ba no na ye de obekwa akoto efiase ba ni be reason ka se na wode ne koto efiase wa na obeto aduane ama no wa na obehwe no oyare a wode ne beko hospital enti se wewia sika na okase o sande sika be mawa ene ho wonfa so se ye beji ye sika chen se ye di nipa no beko efiase enti ye no de Attorney General ene behwe no akan nia ehia with regards to trade tariffs and China zero tariffs. It's an incentive for us to export into the Chinese market. And we need to look at the items that China imports and see where we have a comparative advantage to be able to take up those imports. I know that China imports a lot from the US, and there's a trade tariff war between US and China. So China is looking for alternative markets to import those items. And so they import a lot of meats from the US, they import a lot of maize from the US and other agricultural products. And so if we have arable land and we're in a position to expand our production, then the zero tariff will make meaningful sense. Then we can take advantage of it. But it is just a figure if we are not able to respond and be able to export into the Chinese market. But I think that it offers an opportunity for diversification of markets. Nobody wins tariff wars. It's unfortunate that America has appended the whole world trade system. We all work towards a rules-based trading system. It took years of negotiation from Rio to Doha round and all that. And eventually, reasonable tariffs were agreed between countries. Countries like Africa enjoyed zero tariff into the US because we were in the developing world. And so it was a concession that the US gave. And what you receive in exchange is soft power that, you know, a lot of people have a good disposition towards the US because the US has been kind to Africa and all that kind of thing. But in comes President Trump. He has a more transactional mindset. And he says that the US has been taken for granted for a long time. And so even countries like Ghana in Africa, he slapped a 15% tariff on us from zero tariff. And so AGUA is technically dead. It was due for renegotiation in September. There's no way with this 15% tariff, AGUA is going to be renewed. But we're just watching carefully. The power to impose tariffs is that of Congress. But in this case, the U.S. president always pushes the limits. And so there's a case in the U.S. Supreme Court to determine whether his imposition of tariffs are legal or not. And so depending on what the U.S. court says, the tariffs would either be permanent or they might have to go back to Congress to endorse the tariffs that he has imposed.
Please subscribe, like, and share.